You're listening to the Like and Follow podcast presented by Milk by Digital.
Welcome to Like and Follow, a podcast all about social media and digital marketing, hosted by Milk by Digital. I'm Ben and I'll be your host this week, and we are looking at 2020, what things that we can expect from the social media and digital marketing field. And joining me this week, I've got quite a number of people from our team who wanted to share their thoughts. So first up, I might get you to introduce yourself.
So I'm Elizabeth. I'm an account manager at Milk by Digital.
So what sort of changes are you looking forward to in 2020?
The only thing that really came to mind that I'm really hoping for is scheduling on Instagram. So for Instagram to do their own scheduling tool instead of us as marketers having to kind of really outsource different scheduling programs and pay for those type of things, where I think it just makes more sense for Instagram to create their own that's like native with Instagram, that lets us do everything like choosing the thumbnail, tagging products, locations, pretty much like the works, everything you can do on Instagram that you can do in this scheduling tool. I think it makes a lot of sense if Instagram would introduce their own, as now everyone's kind of scheduling for like obvious, I suppose, for productivity reasons and things. So I think that would be the only thing that I'm optimistic for as a marketer. Yeah.
What do you think Facebook and Instagram will look like in 2020?
I suppose in terms of like looking like, I was thinking more as opposed to like what type of features will or won't they be. I think Instagram definitely, I think the likes worldwide will be removed. I know because Australia I think was the first to be tested. It was really being received really positively overall, I think. And I think they're starting to roll it out to other countries and test it too. And it looks like that it's kind of had, I don't know if we say it's had a positive impact, but maybe Instagram are noticing a positive impact and other people seem to be responding quite well to it. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Instagram likes were a thing of the past next year. And then we no longer kind of, I suppose, measure how well Instagram posted by its likes. I think that's definitely one thing that I see coming. Another thing that I think is going to happen with Instagram is with the Instagram shop page. I think that's kind of almost going to become almost like a shop front. So it's, I suppose, as well as having a website, you kind of set up your Instagram shop page really well, especially now where Instagram's moving into doing everything kind of natively in the app. So I think there'll be kind of more of a pressure on brands, like e-commerce brands, to have a really good Instagram page with like tagging all their products in, so you can buy things natively within the app. And then from there, you could even get something like, instead of some brands setting up a fully like optimized website, they might just be more invested into making sure that Instagram is really well. The grid looks really good. They've got all the images on their feed that they want. Then that kind of, I suppose, acts as its own mini storefront. The other one, I think IGTV is going to go. I think they've kind of like realized that, I suppose it's not what they saw, the potential they saw that in IGTV. I think it's kind of like not happening for them, unfortunately.
It's run its course a bit?
Yeah, I think so. I think they tried pushing IGTV on feeds. I think kind of what might happen is Instagram would just allow people to upload videos longer than a minute and then kind of keep it on the feed. So I think it's going to be something that Instagram kind of fade out. I could definitely see that. I don't have any data to back that. I'm just kind of like thinking, I just don't think for them it's probably not profitable to kind of keep throwing money into it and promoting it when it doesn't seem to be kind of, I suppose, doesn't seem to be what they think that it would be. Another note I had was more, I suppose, general kind of thing with Facebook. I can see Facebook after all the things like with the privacy issues, where they've been, because they caught pushing one political party's message rather than the other, and that sounds very vague. Like that kind of like, I suppose all the Cambridge Analytica, privacy issues, breaches, that type of things. I think from Facebook we're going to be kind of seeing more, I'm not sure necessarily in terms of like app development, but more things like in their marketing, their promotion, the way they're speaking to us, trying to rebuild that trust. I suppose trying to make it more community focused rather than, I suppose, pushing new apps and features and I suppose that type of thing. I can see them more focusing on trying to build the consumer's trust and trying to get people back onto Facebook and things now.
Are there any new social platforms that we should be looking out for?
I I know this isn't exactly new, but I think TikTok is definitely a social platform that's growing, particularly in like Generation Z. And I think as brands kind of need to be more aware of it and how they can use it to engage with their audience, like I said, particularly like the Gen Z and the younger generation. There's already like, I had a little bit of a sticky beak last night because I was a bit curious about it. And I saw there was lots of brands like Apple, Sephora, kind of those really big brands that have started to produce content for TikTok. And it also seems to be the content that they're producing is not very sales focused. It's kind of just about engaging like with their audience, having fun. So I think that's potentially something for brands to kind of like look out and be aware for how they can, or if it applies to them, how they can use TikTok. I think that's the only one that I could really think of that would be a new emerging social media platform to look out for.
What are some of the trends that you think that you can predict for 2020?
The only one that I think that I'm kind of starting to see now is VER in e-commerce. So, for example, we were using upstairs the other day. The Iconic had a thing that you can try on shoes just by like using your phone on the app. So things like that I suppose that allow the consumer to try things on without having to actually go into store. I suppose to kind of bridge that gap between online and in-store, where people kind of, I suppose, they fear buying things online because they can't try it in the store. They don't know if it looks good. So to try to almost bridge that gap. So I think, VR in e-commerce, like, I don't know if you'd call that VR, AR? Yeah, I think that will be something that I think that I'm starting to kind of see now, but I think it'll kind of continue to get better, and we'll see, I suppose, those bigger brands like the Iconic or your like Nikes, like Ray-Bans, like, you know, those type of brands will kind of start implementing like technologies to like really look after it. Yeah.
Well, speaking of e-commerce, how do you think that's going to affect digital marketing?
Yeah, definitely. Like I was saying before, I think Instagram Shop will make people a lot more aware of making sure your product catalog is all set up in Facebook, making sure that's all optimized, making sure everything's tagged. Where I think some people that kind of run a little bit more of an automated social media strategy, kind of just sticking the same thing on Facebook as they do with Instagram, not kind of tagging, just leaving like, you know, a link in bio and like not setting up your product catalog, they might kind of like see their competitors do a little bit better potentially, as we are kind of seeing Instagram really heavily invested into like their shopping platform.
Do you feel like influencer marketing will still be effective in 2020?
So I think it will. I think it's kind of like a bit of a thing. Some people are very like pessimistic about it, and other people think that it's still going strong. I think it's still going strong. I think it's just going to change. In terms of brands, I think the days have gone. Well, mostly the days have gone where like brands will invest just like in influencers, and just say if they spend $50,000 in influencers. I think that now it's not a thing. If you spend $50,000 on influencers, you're going to see $50,000 in sale and get your money back straight away. I think it's more a thing now. It's a branding exercise about reaching new audiences, rather than what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it plus more, if that makes sense. And also, I suppose, more for brands doing it in a way of getting more content. So kind of diversifying the content they receive, especially for something like clothes, makeup and things that kind of people want to see on someone. I think something like that, using influencer marketing, you kind of get all that kind of content across without having to make it yourself, which can be very expensive when you think about clothing brands that do massive campaigns, makeup brands that do like massive campaigns. If you can pay for an influencer, it would be significantly cheaper while still kind of getting, this is the final result. I think that's like definitely a great thing for brands and also a great thing for influencers. So I definitely think it's still going to go strong for 2020, but I think it's just going to, I suppose, change. The nature of it, I think, will change. And maybe, I think it's at the moment, I still think it's happening, but kind of, I suppose, the decline of the holy grail, like big gun influencers, and more kind of like the middle guys, the micro influencers and things like that. Kind of like I was saying before, I think the brands are kind of realizing there's not like, it's not feasible to spend hundreds of $1,000s on influencer marketing anymore, and like you're not going to see that return of investment. So I think brands will start being smarter about it, looking for influencers, I suppose, suit their content a lot better rather than just kind of going for followers and seeing things like likes now that the Instagram likes have been removed. So definitely, like I said before, I think it will still be there. I think the nature of it is just going to change a lot.
So I'm Ali, I'm a social media coordinator, and I work on like a variety of clients within like beauty, lifestyle, hospitality. It's like a nice mix, and pretty much do like end-to-end management for them. So like we do like content creation, work with influencers, day-to-day posting, like community management, all of their like paid advertising, like Facebook and Instagram, and then like their reports. So I feel like I have like a good sort of scope with all of my clients, which is good.
So we've heard a lot about new social platforms that are popping up, and there seems to be a new one every week. What are some of the ones that you feel like are going to make a big impact in 2020?
I guess it's hard to tell like which ones are going to pop up. Like it's really hard to predict that. But I think like things like TikTok and those sort of like younger audience platforms seem to be like really picking up, and sort of like more like purely entertainment stuff. So like not news, like not even like posting about your life, just like pure like fun and stuff like that.
What sort of opportunities do you see with those platforms, the pure entertainment style platforms?
I think it's good for brands to be able to like connect on a more just like fun way, more just like brand awareness and like sort of make themselves more likable as well. And yeah, connect to like a younger audience, I guess, as well.
Do you think influencer marketing will still be as effective?
I think it will still be present, but I think that it will start to change. I think like even with the removal of likes and stuff like that, it's hard to like track how like the quality of your collaboration with influencers and stuff. And I think it will start to move towards like micro influencers more so than like macro ones that like brands have been working with at the minute. I think it'll be more about like influencers that actually have like engaged audiences and like actually you like following and like you like them rather than just like aspirational type people. So I think like brands will probably start to move towards like micro influencers and stuff like that. And I think like macro influencers will probably need to like stop just doing sponsored posts all the time and start actually like sharing more of like themselves and like authentic things rather than just like relying on like just doing sponsored posts for like a job.
Right.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see that change, hopefully.
What new changes are you looking forward to in 2020?
I don't know about looking forward to, but I think something that the social platforms will start to introduce is like more privacy controls or just like more control over your settings and stuff like that. Whether it's like actually privacy, whether it's like you feeling like you have more privacy, but like I think more like controls of like who you share content with. So even like on Instagram where you have the close friends Instagram story, so you can choose to just share with like a certain amount of people. Like maybe they'll sort of build on that and be like, oh, maybe you just want to share with like your, I don't know, hobby friends and like, you know, like sort of maybe grouping it into like different people.
Maybe if
rather than just like putting content out that goes to all of your followers.
So maybe if Facebook would try to take the group's concept from Facebook and bring it over to Instagram stories first.
Yeah, actually even like groups on Instagram could be something, because they do have that new like group messaging feature now. So whether that sort of like turns into like not just messaging but also like sharing content like within a group.
What are some big trends that you can see happening in 2020?
Yeah, I was thinking about this one. It's sort of hard to like know what is going to be a trend, because I think that's like the point of it. It's like you don't even realize until all of a sudden like everyone's doing it. I guess this year like I feel like there was more of a focus on like more authentic content. So like Facebook was really pushing like Facebook lives and stuff like that, where it's like not as polished content. Like it's not an edited video that you pop up. It's like just you like behind the scenes or whatever. So I think maybe stuff like that will sort of be more prevalent. Like even brands that aren't just like doing like influencer content, like studio photos, it'll be more just like, oh hey, our new product sort of thing. Like maybe things will be like less polished.
My name is Bea. I am a social media manager here at Milk Bar, which means that I manage a bunch of accounts as well as people.
What do you think Facebook and Instagram will look like in 2020?
So I think Facebook will be like 90% video in terms of content. 80%? Let's go 80.
I think it'll be mostly video, and it'll be a lot of text on video as well as storytelling. So instead of reading a whole post, you're kind of just watching a video play through to tell you like a news item or information about a product. I see that a lot. And then for Instagram, I think it'll be very shopping focused. So I think they're bringing in Instagram Shop soon. So I imagine it'll be about pushing more products and hopefully, seeing more analytics around that as well. Yeah.
Well, how do you see the e-commerce affecting digital marketing?
In social media?
In social media.
Quite a lot, I think. Even now it's already getting bigger and bigger, but on a monthly basis, we're seeing a lot of updates in what you can do with social media advertising. So in a year's time, who's to say, what other more complicated ways that we can measure and target people, how much that's going to improve. So I think it's going to have a big toll on other digital marketing platforms as people move more to social media marketing, but it's going to be more saturated, which means the ads are also going to have to become more interesting, more powerful, I think.
What new changes are you looking forward to, or I'll take that one again. What new changes are you hoping for in 2020?
Hoping for? Definitely Instagram Shop. I'm hoping for that. And I'm hoping for more analytics around people who buy through Instagram Shop, even people who tag. Right now there's no analytics around that. There's no way to retarget people who have checked out your products through the current shopping function of Instagram, which takes you out, but you can still see to a point the products on the feed. We can't really access those people yet to remarket. And for Facebook, I don't know if I have any hopes for Facebook. I like my prediction that it'll be more video focused, because that's certainly what I'm enjoying the most in terms of content on Facebook.
What are some of the other social media platforms that you think are going to make a big impact in 2020?
Well, people always talk about TikTok. So let's keep an eye on TikTok. I don't know how big an impact it's going to have on digital marketing. I'm not that optimistic about it, but I think it'll have a big impact on trends for sure, and video trends. So I think it's worth keeping an eye on. And when we were at VidCon earlier this year, they talked about a new streaming platform called Quibi that's going to be launching in Australia next year. And so that's an interesting one to watch. It's going to be a video platform purely for vertical video. So content produced on it will be to be viewed on the phone, designed around that. So I guess it's comparable to like YouTube, maybe even Netflix. I don't know how complicated the actual product is going to be, whether it's going to be community sourced or actually produced by professional content creators. So that's one to look out for as well.
Okay. Do you think influencer marketing will change in 2020?
I think it will, in the way that it won't. I think it's gradually becoming less impactful. Is that a word?
Yeah, it's definitely a word, yeah.
Because I think there's too much of it now. All brands, big and small, have jumped onto it, and all influencers, big and small, are being sponsored. So just purely because of how saturated it is, it's not really as effective as it was maybe 5 years ago. So I think it'll still continue, but you'll have to create really meaningful partnerships and create great content together with an influencer as a marketer in order for it to be effective, I think. Yeah.
What are some big trends that you can predict happening in 2020?
I think 2020 is going to be pretty political. We've got the elections in the US coming up again, right? Yeah, 2020. Yeah. Just climate change in general is at the forefront of all discussions, really. And I think the concern for climate change is getting louder and louder, even at the second half of this year. So I think for brands, it will be important to take stances on things, and it will be important to have that voice. And the trend goes for, Generation Z, that's what they care about, like purpose-driven brands. So I think the way that we communicate with customers online has to reflect that in some way, and that trend's going to impact the way we market. I think, yeah, that's pretty much my prediction for trends.
No, that's an interesting take on that. I think you're the only one that's really gone with like a political spin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Other people, like 90s fashion. Actually, noughties fashion. I predict noughties fashion will come back. Awful like spaghetti straps and little handbags that fit nothing.
Well, it'll be, 20 years since it started, so...
It kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It comes back around. Hopefully not like really low cut jeans. Let's hope that doesn't come back. But it might.
That about wraps it up for our 2020 predictions for now. But if you're looking to expand your digital marketing or social media in 2020, you can get in touch with us at milkbardigital.com.au, or you can send us an email, hello@milkbardigital.com.au. Thanks.